And again, we've covered essentially a couple chapters here. We obviously just even on Law and Order, we have the military, you have college campuses, Title IX. You talk about politics, then the media, pop culture, gaming, and but we're almost out of time here. I want to spend a little bit of time on, I guess, kind of before I let you go, talking about potential, again, air quotes, solutions to this, and then also kind of what gives you hope when it comes to rape and rape culture in the United States?
Okay, so I think in terms of solutions, there are a lot of little things that we can do, but I think the biggest thing is, at this point, we really are still in a situation where describing the problem, and so we've gotten to where, the feminists in the 70s and 90s got us culturally to recognize that rape is not just the stranger in the bushes scenario, where even if people still struggle with that, obviously, that I feel like that's something that's penetrated the mainstream, that acquaintance rape exists, that in fact it's the most common form of rape. And what's starting to penetrate now is this other idea of a rape culture and this entire system that really supports rapists and gives them social cover and a license to operate, in addition to really heaping extra abuse onto victims. So I feel like that concept is starting to penetrate, which is really exciting to me, that that is something that I didn't really ever expect to see, and that even in the couple of years since I started writing the book, I feel like it's changed a lot. The internet and young people really, together and separately, give me hope, because it's just so much easier to access so many other survivor stories, and so many other survivors, so that it helps to take away the isolation and the hopelessness that victims can feel, and also just helps to create kind of a critical mass of stories where people start to understand that, yes, this is just as common as the studies show that it is, that, yes, it's happening to women you know, to men you know, that it happens in alarming numbers to trans women, that it happens in alarming numbers to bisexual people, are actually one of the groups that suffers most, which was another thing that I learned in this research. So it's the fact that I think young people today seem much more no bullshit about it, that they've kind of, they've grown up in rape culture, but also a culture where people were much more aware of just the existence of different kinds of rape. And that, I think, again, talking about the way that the internet affects it, that young people have this outlet for their voices, and they get used to expressing themselves and to forming and expressing their opinions, even publicly or semi-publicly. And I think they have a lot of confidence and stronger voices maybe than people my generation did. And I think that makes a huge difference, because I think that young people typically have such a strong sense of justice, almost an intuitive sense, that can kind of be worn away over time. And so it's nice to see them, coming from this place, from a social justice perspective, and being able to kind of discuss and reinforce that with each other when they're very young. And I think the ultimate solution, though, just like number one, is to be able to listen to victims and to say, we believe you, it's not your fault. There's a wonderful website that, I'm sorry about that, that Lindy West and others have started, called I Believe You, It's Not Your Fault. That's just a place for people to go when they are victims and they don't know who to talk to, or they are afraid of getting that negative and suspicious response, or they have already gotten it. And that doesn't mean being endlessly credulous and, never ever questioning a victim's story or motives. It just means starting from the presumption that a person who reports a rape is no less likely to be lying, or no more likely to be lying, I'm sorry. A person who reports a rape is no more likely to be lying than a person who reports a mugging. Starting just on that premise instead of immediately looking for what's the angle, why would this woman be lying about it. I think that's huge. I think bystanders were, I was talking earlier about everyone having a camera phone and having the internet access, that we are creating a record that can be used in court. That's the typical thing, that sort of breaks down the idea of it's a he said, she said. In this case, it could be a he said, she said, and the video backs one of them up on what actually happened. So that's kind of the silver lining of this gross culture where people are gang raped and it ends up on video. And yeah, I don't know. I think just, trust victims, and believe in them, I think, is the biggest solution that we can have, and educate ourselves and educate children on consent, educate teenagers on consent, educate adults on consent.